Alexandria is perched on the Mediterranean Sea. It's a city of memory, and it's a crossroads where Egypt meets the sea. And as we were walking early in the morning and with the sun glistening on the sea, we really felt like those waves were whispering their stories from centuries ago. Every street, every stone, every wall reminds us that this place has been a window to the world for centuries. One of our first stops was the Bibliotheca Alexandrina. This modern library rises like a phoenix, inspired by the lost Library of Alexandria, and it was once the greatest repository of knowledge in the ancient world. The ancient library was said to hold hundreds and thousands of scrolls from across the world, and works of science, philosophy, poetry, and history. And you can imagine it, the wisdom of Greek, Egypt, India, Mesopotamia, all gathered in one place. And then mysteriously and very tragically, it was all lost to fire and war, and possibly humanity's greatest collection of knowledge gone forever. As I said, this was absolutely enormous, and as we were standing underneath this huge circular roof, you could almost feel that loss, and basically I think we could feel hope that this place keeps the dream alive. There's a bridge between the past and the present, and a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge never truly disappears. And as we walked through the halls of the library, we were astonished as to how big it was, and how many books and how many people were there studying away. So it was a wonderful thing to experience. We also went to the Qaitbay Citadel, and this was built in the 15th century on the site of the Pharaoh's lighthouse. This is one of 7 wonders of the ancient world, and from the fortress walls, they were really thick and huge. The Mediterranean stretches endlessly, and the waves break softly on the rocks below. You were actually quite high up, being a lighthouse. And it was really humbling to stand here imagining the lighthouse's grand lights sweeping across the sea centuries ago. And the actual citadel itself feels alive with all the stories there. All the soldiers, the traders and explorers passing through its gate leave traces of their lives behind. From the very stark sunlight, we went into the catacombs of Shoqafa. It was amazing how cool it was down there, and the stone walls were dimly lit. There's Egyptian, Greek and Roman traditions that are here, and they all merge together in kind of like an eerie harmony. And the statues and carvings tell stories of death and of life and of belief that spanned across many cultures. As we squeezed through the chambers, we felt the layers of history pressing in, and each tunnel a passage not only through the space of time itself. As we kind of wandered around the chambers, we felt the layers of history pressing in. Each passage, each tunnel, not only through space but through time itself. And it was really eerily quiet and dim and dark, and there were obviously just soft whispers and echoes of footprints from the visitors there, but a reminder of thousands who've passed there before. Above the ground again, we went off to see Pompey's Pillar. It's basically a huge solitary Roman column that rises boldly into the sky. And it's stood there for centuries. And basically a silent witness to the city's many changes that have occurred over the centuries. And as we went around Alexandria, so much of it has been lost, but this single pillar endures. It reminds us that history is very, very fragile, and basically what survives is extremely precious. And standing beside it, we could almost hear the echoes of the Romans era whispering in the wind. It's incredible how that happened in many of the places in Alexandria. Such an amazing place of history. Inside the jewelry museum, we found treasures of a much more personal kind. Absolute opulence, actually. Delicate necklace, crowns, ornaments. They were once worn by the Egyptians long, long ago. So unlike the huge temples and the citadels, these pieces tell stories about all the individuals that actually wore them. And we imagine who had worn these things and the lives that they lived and the care that had been taken to craft such beautiful things, small and intricate. And they somehow felt alive, somewhat unlike the monuments. The Alexandria National Museum, it's actually quite new. Well, it was when we went there, and it brings everything together. Things like the Pharaonic, Greek, Roman, Coptic, Islamic layers are all brought together at once. And walking through the halls, you can see how one city could carry so many eras within it. And also how cultures mix in ways that endure for centuries. And every exhibit told a story, and together they painted a portrait of Alexandria as a city that has always been a crossroads and a place of exchange and a witness to history. And then back to the Corniche, a very, very, very different story found us. There was a tiny little kitten who was being harassed by this Alsatian. And she was standing her ground, but we could see that she was emaciated. She was filthy, dirty, tiny little thing. And we knew immediately that we had to rescue this little thing. She was a feisty little thing. We carried her in our scarves and took her up to the flat and gave her a wash and a feed and tried to take the thousands of fleas off her. And she remains with us today. In one of our other stories on this channel, we actually told the story of this little cat who had her leg broken and went to hospital for 6 months. Lex! Hi! Hi, baby! Hi! Hi! Come! And eventually had it amputated, her hind leg. And to this day, she's with us. She is healthy, she is strong, and she's the most beautiful little kitty. And it reminds us so much of Alexandria. We called her Lexi. And so in the city of Alexandria, it's known for its lost wonders and centuries of history. We found this little thing unexpected, a small heartbeat full of life, new beginnings. And sometimes the greatest treasures in life aren't the museums and the monuments, but in the small lives that we touch along the way. Alexandria, a city of mystery, memories and new beginnings. From the depths of the catacombs to the waves of the Mediterranean, from the grand library to the tiny little rescued kitten. Every moment reminds us that life and history are intertwined. And sometimes the simplest joys leave the deepest mark.